Hey folks, it's your main man E, and I just wanted to talk to you briefly about food motivation and building food motivation through something called existential feeding. What you're seeing here is a dog that I have had for 8 years. She's almost 12 years old. And it was only when I got her food motivation to a significant level that we were able to do things like go to the vet, and not have her become aggressive with the vet, and actually be looking forward to getting through the procedure of having blood drawn so that she could get a reward. So oftentimes we're using high value food to train dogs, but the dog doesn't have that much food motivation. So even a high value food is not that valuable to get them through something like getting blood drawn at the vet. So how do we fix this? How do we create more food motivation in a dog so we get them to the point where Kai is now, where she'll do anything for food? The way we do that is called existential feeding. Basically, existential feeding means that none of the food is coming from a bowl. All of the food is coming from my hand, and ideally I am asking the dog to do something to get the food. Now that could be offering me their paw to work on nail trimming. That could be, looking up at me when I say their name on walks. That could be doing obedience exercises. Sit, stay, lay down. Regardless, the way that it looks is like this. You have the dog's food every day. So let's say Kai has 4 cups of food a day. And I divide that into, let's say, 4 increments. So 4 times a day, I'm going to offer Kai the opportunity to get 1 cup of food. Now, if Kai doesn't want that cup of food, if Kai doesn't want to do obedience exercises, or she's just too distracted to focus, that's okay. I am not going to give her that food later in the day. So if my dog only wants to work for the later 2 portions of food, all she is going to have eaten that day is 2 cups of food, and the next day we start over again with 4 cups of food. The idea is really that we present food to the dog, and we let them know that there's a limited period of time food is available, and there is a limited quantity of food that's available. And if you choose not to take the food, that's okay. That food won't be available later. If we can stick to this process for even 48 hours with most dogs, we will see a significant increase in their desire, not only for their food they eat every day, which is what we would be doing existential feeding with, but we'll see their desire for treats increase drastically. Now, with more challenging dogs that have a very low food drive, maybe they have some fear or anxiety, perhaps they're even neurologically challenged or have been abused. Those dogs, existential feeding can take anywhere from a week to a month to get the dog to really build up a high level of food motivation. Now, when you're doing this feeding, it's important that you challenge the dog to get their food enough that some of the times they don't get the food. If I come over and I just tell the dog, hey, sit, and the dog sits and I give them their food, and then I do that 4 times a day, well, of course the dog's going to sit and get their food 4 times a day. But if I say first, hey, sit, and then I tell the dog, okay, now for lunch, I want you to follow me around for 5 minutes. I don't know, maybe the dog will follow me around for 5 minutes, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll give up after 2 minutes. But the important thing is that you're gradually making it more challenging to get the food, but you're not making it so challenging that the dog can never get the food. Okay? You are, challenging them in a way where they will be able to overcome it, but sometimes they will not overcome the challenge and they will thus miss out on their opportunity to get food. If you're able to do this, not only will you see increased motivation for food, which is just a very great thing to have with every dog, but you will see a dog that is much more engaged with you, a dog that is much more enthusiastic and willing to do what you ask them to do. You will see a dog that just finds more value in doing obedience commands and paying attention to you versus being distracted with the rest of the world. You will see a dog that's anxious become more confident. You will see a dog that perhaps struggles with impulse control, master the ability to control their impulses around food.
The benefits are endless, but I won't deny it is hard to do. Because our dogs, we feel for them, we empathize with them, and if we didn't eat breakfast or we didn't eat lunch, we might be really upset and we might be really hungry. But dogs and humans are biologically very different. A dog can actually go 100 days without food. And they did a study one time, and the dog was fine even after 100 days without food. A human, just off the top of my head, I think can only go for a short period of time, a matter of weeks without food before they will die. So, something to think about, folks. Existential feeding, building food motivation in your dog, it only has positive results. There are only good things that can come about it if we do it properly. And if we do it properly, what we find here is once you have established this relationship with food, the dog tends to maintain a high level of food motivation, sometimes for the rest of their life, as long as we don't go back to overfeeding the dog. We find the dog stays very motivated for a long period of time, and not only will be motivated for treats, but oftentimes the dog's really happy to do what we ask them to do for just their daily food, which is not only more nutritious, it's more cost effective for us too. You're a good girl, Kai, huh? So give it a chance if you want. And if you need any one-on-one help, I'm always here available. Just go on my website and reach out and we could schedule a remote consultation. I also have content that I'm putting up on Instagram and on YouTube regularly, as well as a poetry book that you can buy on my website. Remember, as always, folks, we don't blame them, we train them.